Are you tired of getting screwed because of the things you don't know how to do? Are you ready to do more and be more? Well, then get ready to reclaim your independence. Reclaim the knowledge that has been passed down through the generations that will make you more capable and a more confident individual in any situation. Get ready to become a reclaimed American. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Reclaimed American Podcast, your number one source for learning how to get shit done. So today's episode, this is episode number 15. 15 weeks that I've been with y'all. And I'm slowly modifying the direction of the show. Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to be teaching you things that you need to know. Some people might call it dad knowledge. Things that you might call up your dad one day and say, hey, how the hell do I do this? Or, hey, what do you think about that? That's kind of the direction I'm going towards. But also, I want to create a uplifting experience and try to build a small community around that. Now, of course, I say small community. I would love it if this becomes a large community at some point. And then I can bring this message to hopefully tens of thousands of people, at least, if not more. But, hey, we're in the beginning stages, right? So if you follow any of my social media accounts, like Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, under Reclaimed American, then you would have seen a post this week about create, inspire, uplift. That's going to become kind of the underlying theme for most of the things that I do on this show. Because you have to create a community around the things that you do, the things that you love. It's very important that you always inspire others to do more, be more, and just become better people all around. And then you want to also be able to uplift those around you that maybe they're having a hard time and they need someone to help lift them up. Every now and then we all need help. I know I've definitely needed my fair share of it in the last couple of years, but we're slowly getting there. We're getting our feet our feet are under us, but we've got a certain direction that we're aiming towards, and we're going for it. And I'd love to be able to help others along the way. That's why one of the reasons I'm doing this show. But I'd say in the next coming weeks, I've got some pretty big news. Not ready to tell you what that is just yet, but you will find out what it is on next week's episode. So stay tuned for that. But as a result of what's coming up for next week's show, as I was driving around one day, I was thinking about the thing, and then also, what do I want to do? What do I want to be? And I definitely want to be someone that is capable of creating things. I love woodworking. I love building things. So I am a very creative person in a sense. But creating is more than just things that you can touch and feel. It's also about a sense of community, belonging, and then the next aspect of that was inspire. Because you have to be able to inspire those around you to be better than what they are. You have to inspire them to do more and be more. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? So yeah, how can you inspire those around you to become better people, better versions of themselves? And then along the way, you have to be able to uplift those that are having a hard time. If you see someone that's struggling with something, or you know that, hey, Billy Bob over there is going through a hard time, well, how can you help him out? How can you help uplift him from where he's at? And so, yeah, that's like I said, that's kind of the theme that I'm going with going into the future. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still going to occasionally do some shows about how to physically do something. I'm actually itching to get back into creating things, but at the moment we're making a mad dash push to get this house fixed up so we can get it sold and get the hell out of Dodge and eventually be somewhere where we're not spending an ass ton of money on the mortgage and frickin' not HOA, taxes. City and school taxes are just eating our shit alive right now. And so we're trying to get just outside of the Houston area. Taxes drop off considerably once you get outside the Houston city limits. If you can get outside of Harris County, for the most part, you're doing even better. Occasionally, depending on which county you go into, you still got to kind of be careful. But for the most part, Harris County just totally hoses you on taxes right now. So trying to get out of that. And that's the reason we're trying to get this house fixed. But we've had some let's just say someone shoved some sticks in the spokes of our wheels, and it is a challenge. But we're getting there. We're working through it. I will, like I said, let you know a lot more about that going into next week. And we'll see what we got going on there. But in the meantime, let's kind of dive a little bit into some of these topics here. One thing I would love to do is be able to create a community around this show. A community where if you've got questions about things, whether it's how to physically do something or you've got just some of those weird life questions that you need to bounce it off someone that you maybe don't know directly, then that's part of the reason I'm creating this. You know, kind of a forum that you can go to, talk to people that you don't maybe have to see face to face all the time, because let's face it, sometimes when you have something that maybe you're embarrassed about, but you've got to find help or at least, you know, talk it out with somebody, sometimes you don't want to go talk to your best of friends or your family because you worry about what they're going to say, what they're going to think. Or perhaps, you know, you've got this crazy idea of something you want to do, but you know if you mention it to your family, maybe your family is of the opinion that, oh no, you got to stay in that corporate job and you got to work, you know, work your 30, 40 years in one company so you have an awesome pension when you retire and whatever, you know. Unfortunately, there are families out there like that, you know. You got the grandpa that worked in the company A, and then your dad started working in company A, and now they expect that you're going to work there too, and it's like, no. That is for some people, not for me. But maybe that's also your case, and you want to just talk it out and discuss options with others that are completely unbiased to what you've got going on in your life. I want to be able to, like I said, inspire people. You know, I listen to a couple of different actually quite a few podcasts, but one of the ones that I listen to the most is Order of Man. If you've never caught one of their episodes, I highly recommend you check them out, especially if you're a guy and you're struggling in life and you're kind of lost and you haven't quite found your way. Go check out Order of Man. They've got a podcast. They've got a Facebook group. If you want to find out more about the host of the show, that's Ryan Mickler. You can look him up on Instagram, which is where he's mainly active. And you can find out a little bit more about his life and find out why is it that I want to listen to this guy talk about whatever. But, you know, he's had his own struggles and he's figured out a way to come through. The way he does things might not work for you, but there again, it might. But sometimes you just need that fresh perspective. And definitely, you know, listening to his show, you can get that. One, he does a Ask Me Anything show on Fridays. He does an interview show. I believe that's on Tuesdays or Wednesdays. I always get that all confused. But he does an interview show where he has very inspirational people on. You know, Medal of Honor recipients, Navy SEALs, just people that are knocking it out in life. And he brings their message to you every week. So check it out if you haven't already. Also, There's a few shows that I listen to. W2 Capitalist. This guy is all about real estate and trying to help you out. You know, everybody has that W2 job, but you also need something to help carry you through should that fall apart, or you decide you get to a point where you want to move on from that job and just do things for yourself. Like I said, he talks a lot about real estate, how to get into different industries, or not industries, but into different markets, and you know, things to look for. Also, he's got a Facebook group, but check it out, W2 Capitalist. Oh, goodness. Then there's also, you know, some that I listen to just for the sake of entertainment. The Spent Brass podcast. That's one that I've actually just recently started listening to. It turns out the guy is also here in Houston. And so far, I'm really enjoying the show. He is a Marine, and he gives his perspective on a lot of things. I've heard him tell a lot of stories from the past, and it's quite entertaining. Like I said, I really do enjoy his show. So there's another one, Spent Brass Podcast. All of these shows you can find on Apple Podcasts, iTunes, whatever the hell you want to call it these days. Another one that I've really been enjoying is part of the Heroes Media Group, which I'm a part of, and that is the Decision Hour. The host of that show, they bring interesting perspectives, and sometimes I'm rolling while I'm driving, you know what I mean? They're funnier than hell. And again, it's all about perspective. They've recently launched a new series in their show about mind shift, and it's pretty good. I'm enjoying their show. When I first started listening to them, I went back as far as I could. I went back to like episode 120. I think that's as far back as Apple Podcast went. And I listened to every episode all the way up to where they're at now. And let's see if I can find... I don't know, it seems like their numbering system got all kinds of skewed. Or maybe it was episode 20 that I listened to way back when. Because right now, according to iTunes, Apple, whatever the fuck, they are... Oh, no, they're on episode 181. So, who knows? Maybe that was episode 120 that I listened to way back when. But also, another great podcast. Going into the personal development realm, whatever. Another very good guy to listen to is Ed Milet. His show is, sometimes he puts on a show in front of like a live audience, like maybe he went and gave a speech somewhere to a bunch of college athletes or whatever. That was one show that he did. Super inspirational. He really drives his message home. He also isn't afraid to tell you about some of the struggles he's had and how he got from that point to where he's at now. And again, you know, perspective is everything. And so what I'll do is I'll start reading off their little bio on Apple Podcast and let you know what the shows are about. So with the Ed Milet show, they say, delivering to you great show ideas, tactics, strategies, and hopefully some inspiration that could help shape and transform areas of your life that you want to improve, whether it's your body or your mind, your business or your family. So again, this guy gets very inspirational people on his show. I couldn't even attempt to run down the list, and I'm not going to even try. But very good show. Check it out. That's all I can say. Actually, everybody in this list, I've got probably 20 different shows that I've listened to at different points, but the ones I'm pointing out to you right now, these are like my top shows that I like to listen to. So go check them out and enjoy. So the next one, this is one that I'm very happy to see they finally started re-releasing, although it's not that they're regurgitating old stuff. It's they're finally putting back out new episodes. And that's the Change Your POV podcast. So yes, the Change Your POV podcast with Eddie Lazary and Bennett Tanton. Take control of your post-military life and develop a successful holistic strategy with the host of Change Your POV podcast. Change Your POV podcast network. Okay, they haven't updated their bio lately, because now they're just Bennett and Eddie. They used to have like 3 other guys that would do shows under their group name, but yeah, so it's they're gonna have to update that before I go too much further in there. But their last episode, before they used to only be about an hour or less. Well, now they're doing more of a long form show. The last episode that they just put out was 2 hours and 22 minutes. That one took about a day and a half for me to listen to, because I listen to shows while I'm driving back and forth to work. And that one took a little while, but hilarious as hell. Again, I enjoy the hell out of their show. They're both veterans. Bennett was a Marine, and then he went Army. Eddie, I want to say Eddie was Army. He doesn't really talk too much about it outside of just he's a veteran. But yeah, great show to listen to. And I think the last one I'll share with you is the Team Never Quit podcast. So the Team Never Quit podcast is with Marcus Luttrell and another individual that just goes by the name of Wizard. And if you hear dogs barking in the background, I apologize. I've got my dogs in the backyard, and there's some neighbor dogs running around, and it drives me nuts when people just let their dogs go, you know what I mean? Anyways, so it says 2 Navy SEALs who've known each other for years, sharing their amazing life experiences in a humorous, heartfelt, and entertaining way. Never before have 2 people brought such substantial backstories to anchor their ability to pull the best out of the people they interview. They used to have another guy named David Rutherford, and he recently had to step down from the show because he wanted to concentrate more on his family life, which I am totally down with. Totally miss hearing him on the show. Loved his perspectives, and God, the energy that he brought was just amazing. I mean, I don't know if this dude drank like a pot of coffee before every episode that they recorded or what, but he was just on fire. So go back and listen to some of their old episodes if you want to hear more from him. But in the meantime, I know Marcus and the Wizard are just knocking it out. Again, they're interviewing incredible people with incredible never quit stories. Very motivational, very inspirational. And they also do this segment where they call it the listener write-in story. And so what they do is people will write in, tell them their never quit stories. And if it's a really good story, they'll read it on the air. And a lot of times these stories involve people that were on their last legs in life. They were ready to open mouth, pull trigger kind of deal and just end it all. But somehow, through the grace of God, they found the Never Quit podcast. And by listening to other people tell their stories and their struggles, they've made it to where, you know, them hearing those stories made it to where they realize that their life wasn't that bad. Their life is worth living. And a lot of times that's the story that they end up reading. And it's incredible. It's super amazing. Again, very motivational. And sometimes it can almost be a tearjerker, you know, but I'm kind of robotic. I don't cry, you know, or at least that's what I tell people. And, but yeah, great podcast. So let me give you the quick rundown once again on what those shows were. I'll try putting that in the show notes, but I'll also make sure that you have links to them through, oh Jesus, my mind's blank, through my social media accounts. So if you're on Instagram, if you're on LinkedIn or Facebook, and you go and you find the post for this episode number 15 on Create, Inspire, Uplift, then you'll be able to find the list that I listen to help motivate me and inspire me to do more, be more, and be better. So let's just start with the last one I just said, Team Never Quit Podcast. If you go on to Apple Podcasts and you type in Team Never, it'll pop up. All right, so the Spent Brass Podcast, I didn't read the little bio on them, but Spent Brass Podcast. Pull up a seat, grab a beer and a bowl, and come chill with Nina and myself. Myself being Isaac, the host of the show. We like to take serious situations and topics and talk about them, but we like to bring a little bit of bright humor into our topics. So come laugh with us or at us. Either is good. And support our podcast on Anchor. Anyways, so there you go. Spent Brass Podcast. Again, you'll find them in my show notes and also in my posting on... God, I hate it when my mind goes blank. On Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So then there's also Order of Man. You definitely cannot miss this one. Especially if you're a guy and you're trying to better yourself, you've got to go check this guy out. So, Order of Man Podcast. We're reclaiming what it means to be a man. Each week we interview the world's most successful men on the planet. Elite athletes, warriors, New York Times best-selling authors, and world-class entrepreneurs. Extract their hard-fought lessons and experiences and deliver them straight to you. Past guests include Jocko Willink, Tim Kennedy, Andy Frisella, Lewis Howell, Grant Cardone, Ryan Holiday, Ben Greenfield, Rich Roll, and so many more. They also did one with David Goggins. If you do not know this man and his backstory, look him up. He's got a book that he put out called Can't Hurt Me, but if you do audiobooks, just go get the damn audiobook. He has the guy that helped him author the book basically read the book to you, but then at the end of every chapter, at the end of every major event in the book, they pause the reading and then they do like an interview show. So it's like an audiobook / podcast / interview show all in one. So David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. Find it on Audible. All right. Anyways, back into the Order of Man. So if you're ready to level up your life as a man, then this show is for you. So yeah, you got to check it out. It's Ryan puts on an excellent show. If you're struggling at all as a father, as a man, and you just need help leveling up, not only can you listen to the podcast, join the Facebook group at Order of Man in Facebook groups, but also if you're really ready to level up, they have a mastermind group that they call the Iron Council. Right now there's like 500 people in there, and they have these teams set up, and all they do is they help to inspire and uplift each other. And it's an incredible thing. I haven't signed up with Order of Man. I've got some other shit going on. Or not Order of Man, sorry. Iron Council. I would love to at one point, but right now I'm not ready for it. Let's just put it that way. Say it like it is. So yeah, Ed Milet, another great show. I already read the description to you earlier. But if you want to hear another highly inspirational individual, check out his show. It's awesome. It's incredible. He typically brings the guests to his house, and he records in his little at-home studio, and it's very well done, very well put together, and he tells an incredible story. He's a very, I don't want to say emotional individual, but you can hear the emotions in his voice during the show, and I mean, he really puts it all out there. So again, the Ed Milet Show. And that's Mylett for Milet. Decision Hour, or The Decision Hour. The Decision Hour is all about having the ability to make those tough choices that you know you need to make in order to have a better life. That's the way they wrote that up. Excellent show. Like I said, it's Adam Bird and Patty Catter, and they put on an awesome show. Adam is a veteran. Patty is someone that's been in the caregiving industry. I really don't know how to phrase that. I know she said it multiple times on the show, all the stuff she's done, all the groups that she's part of, and the fact that she also helps to take care of her own husband. Yeah, like I said, Decision Hour, it's an awesome, awesome show. It's on the Heroes Media Network, which you can find at heroesmediagroup.com, where you can find my show hosted, and a pretty good list of other great shows that are out there. So go check them out and go from there. All right, so, and then the last one, and if I forgot one that I had previously mentioned to you, well, I apologize. But the last one I'm going to read off right now because I need to wrap the show up is W2 Capitalist. Let's see, the read up on this one is, we're here to bridge the gap between wage and wealth for those who are successful at their W2, but seek to produce more passive residual income and build generational wealth through real estate investing. Each week I'll interview successful W2 capitalists as well as industry experts and mentees I've taken under my wing to push them towards their first or next REI acquisition. So there you go, W2 capitalist. He doesn't have his shows numbered, but yeah, he puts out a weekly show, and like the last one came out on Monday, and it's called Build Relationships, Invest on Market Fundamentals, and Be Laser Focused with Joe Fairness. I don't know Joe Fairness, but that's who he interviewed. So anyways, that's my list of shows that I find to be inspirational, and they help to uplift me to make me a better version of myself. So if you need some inspiration in your life and you need to get some focus and direction, go check out any of the shows in that list, and they should definitely be able to help you with that. But for now, that's it for me. I'm going to get out of here. I've got some chicken cooking in the oven, and I'll see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Reclaimed American podcast. If you're ready to do more and be more, start by leaving us a rating and review on iTunes or Google Play. Then join our community on Facebook and Instagram at Reclaimed American, and join us over on our website at reclaimedamerican.us.